What's going on, everybody? Coach Sai here. Welcome to phase 5 of our new programming. So I want to touch briefly on the same elevator pitch that I give you, and that you are not going to outwork poor nutrition. You are not going to outwork poor sleep hygiene. You are not going to outwork terrible stress management, and you certainly aren't going to be able to achieve the goals that you want if you're not trying to check in the boxes of everything that I just mentioned. So we have been going through 6-week training cycles, which we're going to continue to do. We spent a couple cycles, in a hypertrophy block, and then we transitioned a little bit over to a strength block, to where in the previous strength block we had a little bit of volume mixed in with some accessory work for that hypertrophy component. So with that being said, we are going to go into a deload week and treat it as just that. Please, please, please trust the system, let the science do the work. We're going to go into a deload this upcoming week, to where we're going to move back into a pure hypertrophy block. And what that's going to look like is we've strategically organized 3 full body training days throughout the week, and we have allowed it to where the movements kind of augment each other in relation to where we can train and not train entirely to failure. So when you look at your programming, you're going to notice rep ranges that are going to stay the same for most of our compound or our big muscle group movements over the 6-week cycle. And where a lot of people will go wrong is they're going to pick a weight and they're going to stick with this weight, and they don't do anything beyond that. So how I want you to think about this is each week you're trying to bump intensity in some capacity. And so ways that you can do that is you can bump the intensity by doing a little bit more weight. You can bump the intensity by doing the same weight you did last week, but with a few more reps, right? Doing both of those is going to bump the intensity a little bit further. So this is where being thorough really does pay dividends, and then you get an ROI on your investment. So I recommend what you do is that you stick with like maybe 10 reps the first week. And when you do that 10 reps, it's not 10 reps to failure, and it's not doing 10 reps with a weight that you could have done 20 times. There are some parameters that you want to work within. So a good rule of thumb, first week into a deload, maybe you're 3 reps or so from training to failure. That way the intensity is still high enough to where you get some sort of adaptive response, but you're not completely detraining yourself or undershooting to where you're getting no effect from the training. So if you, again, like this is how I would do it, is I would do 10 reps and I would get somewhere close to 3 reps from failure. And then each week, what I would try to do is I would try to add reps. And if I'm getting at 15 every single set and I have more than 3 reps left in the tank, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bump the weight enough to where it gets me closer back to that 10 count. And then over the coming weeks, again, I bump that up and try to beat my rep count from the week before. So it's just a really simplified way for you to do some progressive overload over the 6-week training cycle. And then as a result of that, you'll get a little bit of a training effect, and hopefully you'll see some muscle growth as a result. So being mindful of your sleep, shoot for 7 if you can, hours of sleep. Watch that screen time before you go to sleep. Try to do natural things to kind of align your hormone response. That's going to set you up for good response to the training stimulus. So try to stay off that cell phone and the computer or TV before bed. First thing in the morning, try to get up and get some natural light on your eyes. Go outside. Hold off on caffeine intake for a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 hours. Go do some things. Have your cup of coffee as you're commuting to work for the day. And then the nutrition piece, right? We harp this at you guys a lot. You can't run from this. Hit your protein numbers. If you're someone that's new to nutrition and you're overwhelmed, just start with one thing. Maybe it's the palm-sized protein serving that you're going after. Stick with that and run with it. The research has shown that if you try to change multiple habits at once, you pretty much change nothing. But if we can stick to one of them for a period of time, there's a pretty substantial rise in the ability of that to become a habit. And that's all we're after. We're after building habits in this facility, because when we build habits, massive real results come from that, and that's when lives are truly changed. So me rambling at this point, but new block of training. We're super pumped to be here. Give yourself a little bit of a deload in this coming week. Make sure that when you select the weights that you're not completely under training and getting no effect from it. If you're hitting 15 reps and you could do 20 reps, 25 reps, the weight's way too light. If you're hitting 10 reps and you couldn't do another rep after that, the weight's probably a little bit too heavy. Work within those parameters. Try to add reps each week to the same weight, or try to keep the reps the same and try to add a little bit of weight. The option is truly yours. We want to give you that flexibility. All right, crush these 6 weeks. Looking forward to seeing you all in the gym.